Jaya Radha Gopi Jaya Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jaya Vallabha Gopi Jaya जगन्नाथ बलदेव महारानी की, श्री श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की, श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंहदेव भगवान की, श्री प्रभुपाद की, समवेत भक्त वृंद की, प्रदीर्घ पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, अंतराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुः उन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। सप्तकांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Welcome all of you for the Srimad Bhagavatam class this morning. Me and Madhav Gopinath Prabhu had a back and forth email discussion on which we came up with a very interesting topic for today. This will really be an eye opener for you. The topic, probably you will announce the topic. You have the mic with you.
Today's topic is that experience the teacher.
Is experience the best teacher, or somebody can learn even without having to go through something? Because some people say that, unless you go through the vidya and avidya both, the spiritual knowledge as well as the material experiences in the material world, you will not get the real detachment in life. So there is a very beautiful article by Urmila Mataji. I'm going to show you that article also. So just in a couple of pages, she has clarified this question so brilliantly with the Shastrika references. We will do that. Let's repeat this sloka. Nanubhuya na janati Puman Vishayatikshnatam Nirvidyate Swayam Tasmat Na Tatha Bhinna Dhiparaihi Nanubhuya na janati Puman Vishayatikshnatam Nirvidyate Swayam Tasmat Na Tatha Bhinna Dhiparaihi. Three devotees can recite. Nanubhuya na janati Puman Vishayatikshnatam
Nirvidyate swayam tasmat
Nirvidyate Swayam Tasmat
natadha bhinnadhiparai
Na Tatha Bhinna Dhiparaihi.
nanubhuya na janati
Nanubhuya na janati
man vishayati
Puman Vishayatikshnatam Nirvidyate Swayam Tasmat Na Tatha Bhinna Dhiparaihi. Mataji. Nanubhuya na janati Puman Vishayatikshnatam Nirvidyate Swayam Tasman Na Tatha Bhinna Dhiparaihi. Nanubhuya na janati Puman Vishayatikshnatam Nirvidyate Swayam Tasman Na Tatha Bhinna Dhiparaihi. Na not. Anubhuya experiencing. Na not. Janati knows. Puman a person. Vishayatikshnatam the sharpness of material enjoyment. What is the meaning of that? Sharpness of material enjoyment means just like a blade is very sharp, and sometimes when you shave, it cuts and it bleeds and it pains. Similarly, he says material enjoyment is also sharp and pain producing. Just like you eat gulab jamun, it's very tasty, but then it produces the greed to eat more and more. And when you end up eating a dozen gulab jamun, then it causes stomach pain. So the material enjoyment has a nature of increasing the greed to enjoy, followed by suffering that comes from excessive enjoyment. That's what he's saying. Sharpness of material enjoyment is saying. Nirvidyate becomes aloof. Swayam himself. Tasmat from that. Na tatha not like that. Vinnadhihi whose intelligence is changed. Paraihi by others. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki material enjoyment is indeed the cause of all unhappiness, but one cannot give it up unless one has personally experienced how much suffering it is. Therefore, one should be allowed to remain in so-called material enjoyment while simultaneously advancing in knowledge to experience the misery of this false material happiness. Then, without help from others, one will find material enjoyment detestable. Those whose minds are changed by others do not become as renounced as those who have personal experience. This is spoken by Daksha Prajapati to Narada. The context and the background is this. Narada saw 10,000 sons of Daksha Prajapati in a very holy spot called as Narayana Saras. That was a forest. There was a beautiful Narayana Saras lake. And these sons were all pure-hearted and sattvic. And they were performing penance there. They would touch those sacred waters and they became even more purer in their consciousness. So Narada thought, let them all practice Krishna consciousness and get liberated and go back to Godhead. He taught them Krishna consciousness. They all became brahmacharis. So the news reached the ears of the father. If one son joins ISKCON, you know how much halla people make. Imagine if 10,000 sons join. You can imagine how much he must have become wild. Definitely he was wild, but he produced 1,000 more sons. and most amazingly send them to the same place for performing penances, which goes to show the Vedic life, no one enters family life without prior practice of sense control and mind control. Like one brahmachari, Gurukula Vasan, one lives in the ashram of Gurukula and then takes training from Guru, Acharan, Dasavan, Nicho, Guru Sudrada Sauhrida. One conducts oneself like a servant of the Guru, with no other goal in mind other than pleasing the spiritual master. One lives with a pure heart. Jasa sarve samaramba kama sankalpa varjitaha jnanagni dagda karmanam tamaho panditam buddha. It is said that if a disciple has no other aim other than pleasing Guru, that disciple's all karmic reactions are burnt to ashes. There is no reaction that accrues for such a disciple. So living in the ashram of Guru, rendering service like a menial servant, and conducting oneself with proper behavior of respect, obedience, and such good qualities, and living only on alms, with no other expectation of any reward in return, one should enter service. And then one is allowed to enter to family life. If one is Upakurvana Brahmachari, they may enter the family life subsequently. So, in this way, when Daksha Prajapati sent the second lot, Narada met them also. He saw they were also very pure-hearted. So he told them, this is what your elder brothers did, now you can decide what you want to do. So the younger one also followed the elder brothers. So 11,000. Now you can imagine how much Daksha would have been furious. He was just waiting for opportunity to, chastise Narada Muni. Narada Muni thought, in Daksha's dynasty, I have delivered so many others. Like you will see Dhruva, you will see Prachana Parishad. So many other people down the line, Narada Muni has delivered them all. So he felt that Daksha also should be, because Daksha is the son of the Prachetas, right now? Prachetas and Pramlocha. And that, not Pramlocha, what's her name? That Apsara. Pramlocha only, no? Yeah. And then Daksha is born, correct, no? So now he thought, this is one person I have not yet been able to deliver because he is very angry and envious, correct, no? But Narada thought, if I go... that tree's daughter, yeah. So he went, Narada went in front of... So how many of you will go in front of somebody who is very angry with you? Anybody here? If you know somebody is already upset with you, will you show your face? In fact, if that person comes, you will hide somewhere, correct, no? But here is Narada. He thought, I will go in front of Daksha and then allow him to vent out his anger. And let him chastise me, let him curse me, let him speak whatever he wants. And after doing that, if I keep quiet and tolerate it, then he will feel some sympathy for me. In that sympathy, he will suddenly feel that I have committed a mistake and he will become humble. And a humble heart and a grateful heart is a suitable heart for offering the seed of devotion. That was Narada's idea. So let me allow him to vent out, become angry with me, and then when he becomes humble, I will give him also the seed of devotion. I led his sons back to Godhead, I will lead Daksha also back to Godhead. That was his idea. Narada. Therefore he went into his house, went to his palace. So now, when he met him in the palace, as anticipated, Daksha started getting wild. He said, hey Narada, you claim to be a sadhu. You are not a sadhu, you are a asadhu, he said. I am the real sadhu, he said. And the reason he said was, see, you are yourself a monk and then you have made all my sons into monks. You have destroyed their bright carrier, he said. What is that bright carrier? He said one should become a family man and then between the age of 25 to 50 go through all the, the duties of family, husband and wife together perform any religious duties. And then when they go through that, this is compared in the Srimad Bhagavatam to climbing a mountain in the one of the sections. Why? Because I don't have to tell you much, you all know better how challenging it is to raise a child, especially newborn child for a mother. My spiritual master used to say that if one has got a new baby, then the baby requires as much attention as you have deities at home. That much attention the child requires, at least till 2.5 or 3, like that. So, and by the time that child has become 3, there's one more child coming up. new baby has come, second baby has come. Like one mother was telling in Pune, she has 3 children. So she was telling that, how every 3 years they got, that family got one child. So she was telling, when all these children are budding children, it becomes so difficult to chant and hear and do the devotional activities. But she said, but when I hear little bit also, that gives me so much inspiration. My life is going on inspiration. She was telling, just I hear about half an hour every day. Based on that inspiration, I'm able to go on. Otherwise, the child raising is a very challenging thing. And then afterwards, for a man also to go out and get some money, to bring the money and put up the house and run the family duties towards wife, towards children, towards mother and father. Mother wants to know whether son is my son. Wife wants to know whether husband is my husband. He belongs to me or to his mother. And mother is thinking he belongs to me or to his wife. So he has to balance the insecurities in a family. So within family, outside family. Therefore, when you become a retired person, at the age of 60, it is called as Ugra Ratha Shanti, it is called. Why it is called Ugra Ratha? Try to picturize husband and wife boarding a chariot. Takadak, 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 They have to send so many arrows tackling so many problems. That's why it's called Ugra Ratha. How many of you agree it's Ugra Ratha? You agree? Challenge? Or you know challenge? Of course, if you come to Sattva-guna, challenges are less. The challenges become lesser if you come to Sattva-guna. Because in Sattva-guna, what happens? You are very satisfied. Even with little, you are very satisfied. And your lifestyle is basically very simple. Sleep early, rise early, come for Mangalarti, chant with devotees. You hang around with devotees most of the time. So there is not much possibility of wasting money here and there. If you are not with devotees, then a lot of money gets spent. Wife will say, let's go to shopping mall, and children will say, buy this, buy that. A lot of time goes. One devotee was telling in Pune, if you are with devotees, 3-4 days in a week he goes for programs. Prasadam is arranged in the program only. In the evenings, you don't have to go cook at home, he was telling. And you are with devotees, wife, children, family, along with others. It is a social gathering, but it is a spiritual gathering. It is not just social. It is simultaneously satisfying both needs, social need as well as spiritual need also. Right now when you go to assemblies of devotees like that. So then the devotee families can reduce their expenditure very easily. But otherwise, families in passion, families in ignorance, the expenditure will shoot up, and therefore a man has to work harder and harder and harder to bring more and more money by multiple ways. Some people do three jobs, 2 jobs, extra jobs they do. So family is a very... so he also agrees that. Who is agreeing to that? Daksha Prajapati. He says, yes, it's true that raising the children, getting the daughter married, getting the son settled, buying estates, and proving yourself that you are a competent family man to the people of the world. I am also somebody. People want to do wonderful things and show to others also. Correct, no? So he says, it's a very difficult thing, he agrees. But he says, it is a necessary evil, he says. He says that one has to go through that difficulty. Why? He says, the good news for the family person is, after having gone through all these things, he will come to the point when he is 60, he is completely frustrated with material enjoyment, and he will say that, enough of it now. Now, will anybody else preach to him about detachment, or he will develop detachment on his own? He says, what he says? Nirvidyate swayam tasmat, he is saying. Swayam means what? On his own. On his own he will develop detachment. Nobody needs to preach to him. Why nobody needs to preach to him? Because he has realized it by looking at life himself. He has gone through it. And so you don't have to tell him. For example, first time, when I was going out of station, when I could come to Pune station, I would come with my bags, and some auto wala will tell me, Swamiji, please give the bags, I will take it. So they will pick up the bag and put me in the auto, which has no meter at all. I ask him, how much is the money? He will say, whatever you give, I will accept. But after reaching temple, he will say, give me 300 rupees, 400 rupees, he would cheat me. So later on I understood, when I come down in the steps in the railway station, if auto wala comes with a big smile, please come in my auto. I know that his love is fake love, correct now? So how did I know it's fake love? Experience. That's the whole point. That's what he is saying. He says experience is the best teacher, he says. That's his understanding. But he says, but my sons, you have spoken to them about renunciation and you have made them frightened about the material world. Material world is dangerous, this will happen, that will happen. If you marry, you have to, so much burden, you have to make money, you have to take care of wife, children, all these things. So you have artificially induced renunciation in them. Therefore, those poor children whom I sent for austerities, they gave up everything and they went to become sadhus. Therefore, he said, you are a asadhu because you have cheated them. You have not allowed the realization to organically come based on experience. That is his. So when any of you read this, Daksha Prajapati's argument appears to be very convincing. Correct or not? For how many of you is very convincing? Half of you? More than half. Okay. Now you will read the purport what Prabhupada says, let us see. Read the purport what Prabhupada says. See, it is said that see, it is said that unless a woman, see the purport is coming here? Yeah. It is said that unless a woman becomes pregnant, she cannot understand the trouble of giving birth to a child. Bandhya ki bujibe prasava vedana. The word bandhya means a sterile woman. Such a woman cannot give birth to a child. How then can she perceive the pain of delivery? According to the philosophy of Daksha, a woman should first become pregnant and then experience the pain of childbirth. Then if she is intelligent, she will not want to be pregnant again. Actually, however, this is not a fact. Sex enjoyment is so strong that a woman becomes pregnant and suffers at the time of childbirth, but she becomes pregnant again, despite her experience. According to Daksha's philosophy, one should become implicated in material enjoyment, so that after experiencing the distress of such enjoyment, one will automatically renounce. Material nature, however, is so strong that although a man suffers at every step, he will not cease his attempts to enjoy. Tripyanti neha kripana bahudukka bhajaha. Under the circumstances, unless one gets the association of a devotee like Narada Muni or his servant in the disciplic succession, one's dormant spirit of renunciation cannot be awakened. It is not a fact that because material enjoyment involves so many painful conditions, one will automatically become detached. One needs the blessings of a devotee like Narada Muni. Then one can renounce his attachment for the material world. The young boys and girls of the Krishna Consciousness movement have given up the spirit of material enjoyment, not because of practice, but by the mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his servants. So what is Prabhupada's opinion about Daksha's opinion? Prabhupada says, Daksha is seeing from a material point of view. Narada is seeing from a spiritual point of view. So, actually the fact is, the sons of Daksha Prajapati, they were pure-hearted souls. So they were already pure-hearted souls and they didn't have to go through the material existence to realize it is, to be given up or something like Dharma. First you do Dharma to get Artha. And after getting Artha, you enjoy Kama. After enjoying Kama, you get fed up with the material world, then you go for Moksha. This is traditionally the Purusharthas. 4 Purusharthas people go through right now. But what Narada taught them is none of these 4. He taught them the Pancham Purushartha, which is called Prema Pumarto Mahan. Love of God, he taught. The Paro Dharma, we call it. So, when it comes to Paro Dharma, it is immaterial whether you are a Brahmachari or a Grihastha or Vanaprastha or Sannyasi. Naham Vipro Nacha Narapatir Napi Vaishyo Nashudro Naham Varni Nacha Grihapatir No Vanasto Yatirva Kintu Prodhyam Nikila Paramananda Purnabritabdher Gopi Bhartu Pada Kamalayor Dasa Dasa Anudasa. Lord Chaitanya said, I am not a Brahmachari, I am not a Grihastha, I am not a Vanaprastha, I am not sannyasi, I am not a Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Then who are you? He said, I am servant of Krishna, who is the maintainer of the gopis. And I am servant of the servant of that Lord Krishna, whose servants are gopis. So you will see that his only identity, Lord Chaitanya said, is simply servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of devotees. That is my real identity, he said. So now Narada Muni awakened that consciousness in their hearts. So those fellows never considered whether we are brahmacharis or sannyasis or grihasthas, whether material world is difficult to go through or whether material world is easy. Actually, they became oblivious to the material world. Oblivious means actually a person will take up family life if that is what is suitable for him as per what a guru has ordained for him. And he will do the family as a duty, Krishna conscious duty. And if somebody somebody's guru says that you are able to continue as a brahmachari, you continue, he will continue. His desire is to fulfill the heart of guru. See, there is swanishta, there is parinishta, there is nirapeksha. Three levels are said, correct now. So who is a swanishtita bhakta? Dharma swanishtita pumsam vishwaksena katasuya, correct now? Na utpadiyet ediritim shrama yehavekeva. So if you see, swanishta bhakta means, like Krishna says that he is doing work and he does Krishna consciousness. I'll just show you just one picture, I'll show you. It will be easy. See this one, Swanishta Bhakta. You are able to see? See, he is Krishna conscious, yellow one, yellow circle, and his job is brown. So the job thoughts are coming during chanting for him, correct no? So he has to counteract the job related thoughts during his chanting. That is his struggle for him. Because he is not Swanishta, he is below. He is below Swanishta. He is an attached worker, is not. Because once you come to the Swanishta stage, then you will not be disturbed like this eventually, because the Krishna conscious duties one can perform steadily, stably in Swanishta stage. But prior to Swanishta stage, this kind of push comes in the spiritual life. Then, see, here is the Swanishta stage. Krishna consciousness has dominated more, and the job is a subset of Krishna consciousness. You are able to see the difference? What is the difference between this one and this one? Who can say? Yes? See here, brown circle is outside, job circle. Job is brown here, and Krishna is yellow. Here you say yellow circle has become bigger. Job has become a subset. You are seeing the difference? That means, earlier for you, job was all important. And Krishna consciousness is a side business. And you may think that, these Krishna conscious fellows are nice, my family gets some support, my children also get some culture, like that one may come. But then eventually you become like this. Swanishta Bhakta, when you become, Krishna has become all important. And you think, I want to take a light job which will give me more time for Krishna consciousness. Like that you think. You want job to assist your Krishna consciousness. Whereas here, you want Krishna consciousness to assist your material life. Correct, no? That's the difference between below Swanishta and Swanishta. Then you come to Parinishta. See here, Parinishta. Why the job is shown in dot dot? See? Why it is shown in dot dot? You may do job or you may take VRS also. Because after 45, 50, 55, you feel that there are couples I have seen, they have saved enough money. But they told me that we are working because what to do? Otherwise life would be boring. What will you do sitting at home? Let me go to job. That's where they are going. There are people like that. Actually, they don't need money. They have enough now, adequately. They have for 2 generations they have money. Still they go for job because they don't know anything else. Whereas here you will find Parinishta Bhakta, at a certain stage of life, one is satisfied with the money accumulated. And then one wants to dedicate one's life for Guru's service. That is this Parinishta Bhakta means. For him, job is in dot dot, which means one may do or one may not do. Like that. And then this also, for example, why will you take a particular type of job for serving Guru? Guru says, in this college you take, teaching as a professor, so you can do youth preaching. Then he will take youth preaching, for that he will take. Our Guru says, stay in America and help in preaching there. So he stays in America. Come back to India, he comes back to India. He doesn't see what prestige will come for me by staying in America, what money I will lose by coming to India. All that never crosses his mind. His only goal is to please Guru and assist in his mission. That is Parinishta Bhakta. He is ready for anything. And then Nirapeksha Bhakta, you see, what happened to job here? What happened? His only job is Krishna consciousness. That is Nirapeksha Bhakta, you see. So you got an idea now. Huh? So, yeah, now these are different stages of surrender, I am telling you, that I showed you. Now I will show you the article by Urmila Mataji. I will show that article, just 1 minute. You will read this article and understand it. Very nice article. His experience is the best teacher, you can say. Is it big enough for you?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. See, in the Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna told Arjuna, you heard the whole Bhagavad Gita, Arjun. Kachchideda shrutam partha tvaya ekagrena chetasa kaschidajnana sammoha pranashtaste dhananjaya. Hey Dhananjaya, did you hear the knowledge of Gita very attentively? He's asking. Tvaya ekagrena chetasa, he's asking. Ekagrata means what? No. Where you one pointed attention did you give? Like we all are sitting in the class. Sometimes during the class, some thoughts and worries of the day come, correct? No? Today I have to go there, I have to do this. Or next week I have to do that. This is coming up, that's coming up. So sometimes suddenly you find all devotees are laughing. Then you ask, what did they say? Why did you laugh? Because people, physically they are present, but mentally absent, right? Therefore Krishna asked Arjuna, hey, did you hear attentively what I spoke? Because you're keeping mum. How can I know whether you are understanding or not? So Krishna wanted to be sure. What happened to your moha, illusion? Is it gone or you are still illusion? He's asking. Pranashtaste Dhananjaya. Did you destroy your illusion by now? Kashchideta shrutam partha tvaya ekagrena chetasa kashchid ajnana sammoha. Two things. Your ignorance and illusion. Pranashtaste. Means, is it destroyed now? Which means Krishna expects that our illusion and our ignorance should be destroyed by hearing. So Krishna is speaking Bhagavad Gita and he wanted Arjuna to hear it. And by attentive hearing and contemplating on the matter, what I heard, and one is able to destroy the illusion, one is able to destroy the ignorance. And then Arjuna is saying, what Arjuna is responding? Nashto moha smritir labdha tvat prasadan maya achyuta stitaha asmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. That's what Arjuna said. Nashto moha, my illusion is gone. Smritir labdha. Again Krishna consciousness has come. Yeah. Tat prasadan maya achyuta is saying, it's all by your mercy, Krishna. It's beyond me. This realization is beyond me. But you gave me this understanding. It's Krishna. That's what Prabhupada says. By Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's blessing, the Western boys and girls became renounced. So you gave me such a pure knowledge and you helped me to become renounced, he's saying. And then he's saying, Stitaha asmi. Now I am situated firmly in Krishna consciousness. Stitaha, like all of you are stitaha now. You are sitting comfortably. You can't sit like this in the ocean. Can you sit? Ocean always has waves ups and downs. Therefore, the material world is called samsara sagar. So, when you come here to become a devotee, you are sitting very comfortably because in the outside world, it's all like ocean. You can't sit comfortably anywhere. Life is always full of throwing tensions in us. So, he's saying, Stitaha asmi. Now I am firmly, peacefully situated. Gata sandeha. All my doubts are gone. Gata means all doubts are dispelled. Karishye vachanam tava. Now I will follow your instruction to fight the battle. And then Arjuna picked up the Gandiva and fought the battle after that. So, now here somebody may say, Arjuna was given knowledge of matter and spirit. Lord Krishna tells him, deliberate on this fully. Vimrishaitat asheshena yatechasi tata kuru. Like that Krishna is telling. Vimarshaitat means what? Contemplate and consider what I told you. Krishna is not forcing Arjuna. Because I have spoken this to you, you have to do this. He doesn't say that. What he says? Vimarshaitat. Analyze, contemplate what I told you till now. You yourself contemplate and come to a conclusion. Remember that Asheshena, without giving every point I told you, think about it deeply. Yati echasi tathakuru. What is the meaning of that? Like one fellow was telling, the goal of Gita is yati echasi tathakuru. Whatever you want, you can do. Yes, sir. So that's what some people say. That our children also have to choose between material life and spiritual life. Krishna says, yati echasi tathakuru. So why to force the children? Just allow them to do whatever they want. People say like that. To prepare them for this choice, do we need to give them experiences of both material life and spiritual life? Do our children need any experience of materialism to choose Krishna consciousness? See, the problem is what? If you are going to let the children do what they want, say for example, they want to eat cocoa chocolate, you allow them to eat cocoa chocolate. They want to go to all kinds of movies, you allow them to go to all kinds of movies. They want to play video games all day, you allow them to play video games all day. And they also want to do similar things like what their friends are doing. Now if your son or daughter is growing, your daughter is wearing scantily dressed clothes, parents are unhappy, but she's saying, I don't want to wear traditional Indian dress, look at my college friends, how they are wearing dress. If they can wear like that, why can't I? I also want to be modern and stylish. And you're seeing, and they want to keep long nails up to this. You've seen people keeping like some big long nails. You've seen that? People. So if you see such things in your family, your own daughter or your own son also, you find your son wearing different type of dress. They're tearing the jeans, stone, all kinds of dresses they are wearing, all kinds of things like that. Some people keep all kinds of hairstyles also. So when you see that your son or daughter wants to do those things, what should parents do? Is a question mark, isn't it? Should we just allow them, okay, this is all a passing fad or fashion. Just allow them to do what they want. Eventually they will come to senses and they'll become mature when they grow up. That's what some parents think. Let them do what they want. Now you come to know that your son or daughter is having somebody's number in mobile and they're coming to the teenage. They're constantly talking hours and hours and laughing, joking, going here, going there. They are having some doubtful relationships with some peer. But girls go and they want to reveal their mind to only boy only, not to another girl. And boys want to reveal their mind to only girls only, not to another boy. This is the modern age. And in this way you find when they are doing like this, parents are in tension. They don't know what is going to happen now. They may fall down from their platform. Should we just let them do what they want? That's the question here. Do our children need any experience of materialism to choose Krishna consciousness? The sages do indeed say that to be complete in knowledge, one must study both spirit and matter. But our children can best gain knowledge of illusion by seeing both illusion and reality from the perspective of reality. I'll tell you what is the meaning of that. Children should learn about Krishna and Maya from Prabhupadas' books. And from that vantage point, they should see the illusion of the material world. So, if we, on the other hand, when you allow them to go headlong into material enjoyment direction, what is likely to happen? Havritam jnanametena jnanino nityavairinam kama rupena kaunteya tushpurena analena cha, Krishna says. He says, if anybody goes in the direction of sense gratification, that sense gratification will put a cover over their knowledge. Not only that, this is only beginning. Immediately will cover your knowledge. Little bit Krishna conscious knowledge you have given them, but they will become covered over. And then what is the subsequent result? When they indulge in material enjoyment, because material enjoyment initially gives some superficial, cheating type of happiness in the beginning. When they get that happiness, the nature of that material happiness is that it increases hankering. So they will want to do more and more of it. Any of it, eat a little cocoa chocolate, you will see that. You will want to eat more and more of it. And the more you eat, your tooth will be gone one by one. Or you have to extract the tooth. It's a very painful thing. You will see that material enjoyment initially titillates you, subsequently causes you pain, but increases the hankering for it more and more. and you become more and more and more covered with thicker and thicker and thicker layers of ignorance, and your Krishna consciousness will go for a toss. And they are not going to become Krishna conscious, nor are they going to realize also that material enjoyment is suffering. On the contrary, they will terribly suffer. Along with that, they will keep on struggling to enjoy with no clue of how to get out of it. That is the result of those who go in the path of sense gratification. I know many students now in college, they are suffering from bipolar, or there are some people suffering from different kinds of mental illnesses and all nowadays. How did they get into it? Because they were given absolute freedom for getting into drugs, getting into drinking, smoking, all kinds of things. And they have really abused the body very badly. And now they are trying to, when they see the devotees very happy, they see, because devotees, if you see, devotees have paid the, like we say, the process must be followed and the price must be paid. Devotees have done that. Day after day, month after month, year after year, devotees have risen early in the morning, chanted the holy name, heard the Srimad Bhagavatam class, and led a clean life following 4 regulative principles. No illicit sex, no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, all those things. And devotees have been very faithfully keeping their body clean, mind clean, and their spirit soul engaged in Krishna service. So you just do Krishna consciousness for 5 years or 6 years, you'll be floating in bliss. And then these boys are seeing, the devotee boys are observed by the atheistic fellows who have really abused and ruined their bodies. When they see that, hey, this fellow is living a much different type of lifestyle, so happy, and I have ruined my body. So that's now we may have a question that why should we know both Vidya and Avidya? But Vidya and Avidya both should be learned from the Vedic literature, from Krishna consciousness only. That's what he's saying. Srila Prabhupada tells us that the most intelligent people learn simply by hearing. See, the most intelligent person, you tell him, if you jump from a 4-story building, you will break your legs. He hears it and he will never jump. And a little not so intelligent person, he will ask you, what is the proof? What is the proof? He will keep asking you. And one day he is observing somebody jumping and that fellow broke the leg, and now I am convinced. See, I observed somebody falling and they broke their leg. Now I will not do that because he has observed it. He has not only heard it, he has observed it. Now the third type of person, even after hearing and observing, he is not satisfied. He has to experience it. So he will climb up, he will jump, he will break his leg. Now he is thoroughly realized he will never jump now. The third person. When there's fourth person who jumped also, broke his leg, he was in hospital for 4 months. Now again he is climbing up. And you ask him, what are you going to do? He says that first time I jumped from this angle, now I'll jump from this angle. He's the fourth fellow. So all these types of people are there in this world, correct, no? But who is considered most intelligent? One who learned simply by hearing. So hearing about Krishna gives a child a direct perception of spiritual happiness and knowledge. And as Krishna tells Arjuna, upon gaining this, one thinks there is no greater gain. Yam labdva param labam manyatena adhikam tataha yasmin sitona dukkena gurunapi vichalyate tam vidya dukkha samyogam viyogam yoga samsitam. So he says that this transcendental happiness that comes from spiritual practice, he says a person while practicing is so blissful, uncontrollably blissful, that he thinks in this world all other pleasures are very bleak and very puny. He doesn't. This is what happened with His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami. Last part of his life, when he was about to leave the body in the last days, he gave a very powerful lecture. And just before leaving the body, a few hours before, he started singing this, Jai Jai Radhe, Jai Jai Shyam, Jai Jai Sri Vrindavan Dham. That's what he was singing. He was singing. So when he was singing, tears were both such streaming with tears, and he was smiling very happily and singing this. And he told his Holiness Radheshyam Swami that, the happiness cannot get any better. I am feeling the peak of bliss now. His hair was standing on end, his body was trembling, in great ecstasy he left his body. Undoubtedly he reached the spiritual world. Same thing happened with His Holiness Gaur Govind Swami also. You will see Gaur Govind Swami Maharaj had gone for a GBC meeting. He will not regularly go for the meeting, but that meeting he had gone. Then all the GBCs, they don't see him as just another GBC. They saw him as a very advanced Krishna devotee. So they told Maharaj, today, for a change, instead of our managerial discussions, we will have Katha by you. They told him, please speak on Jagannath Katha. So he began Jagannath Katha, continuously spoke like 1 or 1.5 hours he spoke. At one point of time, when the pastime was going to the peak, he remembering Jagannath, he could not contain himself. Tears were streaming from his eyes. And then he told his disciples, do kirtan. And they were doing kirtan in the middle of GBC meeting, he left his body. Weeping tears in Mayapur Dham, like that. So you can see that spiritual experience that one gets in advanced stages is inexplicable. And then he's saying here, further she's saying, but even if a child is not convinced by his spiritual experience, adults don't have to arrange for children to have the taste of material life. Even without intervention from parents or teachers, each child feels material life moment by moment. Which child does not have any frustrations or disease? What child doesn't come across envy, anger and greed? If not in himself, at least then in others. And what child doesn't see aging and death? At least in the animals and plants that surround him. That means what she's saying is, every child gets to see material life all around. That means you keep giving them Shastra and devotional association and devotional activities, and then allow them to see the horrible material world outside. They will see old age, disease, death, grandfather passed away, grandmother passed away. They get to see that. They may cry also with everybody else. They also get to see their friends in having some diseases. How many of you have seen your colleague, somebody suffering from some disease? You have seen? Correct? No? We all get to see all around in this world. So, by observing the world around material world, Dukhalayam, Shashvatam, they are getting to watch. At the same time, they are keeping themselves in the safe boat of Krishna consciousness. You can be in the boat and watch the ocean. You don't have to jump into the ocean to know how bad the ocean is. So do you want to jump out of the ship and then drown in the ocean and then realize, now I am drowned, now I am realizing how bad it is? Better be in the ship and you can watch from the ship and also chant Hare Krishna, take prasad and relax in the ship. And keep watching and learning how the material world is very dangerous. That's what he's saying here. Our children will also get direct experience of bodily and mental pleasure. As distress comes, even uninvited, material happiness will also come. A caring adult will use a child's naturally occurring painful and pleasurable experiences as a connection to what the child has heard from the scripture. Here, Howard Hendrix, he writes in the 7 Laws of the Teacher, he says, you don't have to get hooked on cocaine to be aware of its devastation. And even many who are hooked don't understand the danger. So a better way to say it is, properly evaluated experience is the best teacher. Properly evaluated experience is the best teacher. That means you don't have to go through it to get experience. You can get the experience of others. When adults say that for our children to understand Maya, we must expose them to it. They often mean they want to expose children to the illusions of illusion. You understand the meaning of that? No? That means they want to show the child how the illusion cannot make them happy. Correct, no? Like they suggest taking children to amusement parks or showing them television or engaging them in much of the frivolities of childhood. But children who get a taste for such illusions generally become illusioned. Their higher knowledge and taste for Krishna becomes covered. The child asks for further and further indulgence in illusion. Because as Krishna tells us, material desires can never be satisfied. Dushpurena analena cha. The parents then feel they must give the child Maya because the child is demanding it. They forget that they themselves, the parents, sparked that demand. That means by giving them illusion, you sparked their demand foolishly and then you are increasing them, their hankering, and then they are demanding more and more. So, leave alone the children, our own mind also. Sometimes our mind is demanding Maya. When you let the mind enjoy Maya, the mind is going to increase hankering. When the hankering increases, at that time you will lose your control. Then the mind can cheat you. Mind can loot you. Mind can make you suffer terribly, and mind will laugh at you. Later on you will see that. Therefore, what the Shastras say, one should chastise the mind and keep the mind under control. One example I'll tell you. There was one K.K. Raja who learned from a sage how to decode the speaking of the birds. But the condition was, if he decodes the bird's speech, you should not tell anybody. If he tells anybody, he will die. So one day K.K. Raja was sitting in the palace, in the gardens, and he heard two cuckoos speaking to each other. Coo, coo. They speak like that, no? So when he heard that, he laughed. He was amused and he laughed. And his wife was asking her husband, please tell me, why are you laughing? He said, see these birds, what they are talking. He said, she asked, what are they talking? Tell me. And he said, no, sorry, the sage just told me that I can't tell anybody. He taught me this in 2 months. If I tell this, I will die. She said, no problem, if you die also, please tell me. She said. And this fellow said, what kind of person is this? You know? So then he immediately went to the forest to meet the sage. My wife is saying like this. And the sage said, okay, she may be foolish, how can you be foolish? He said, if she is adamant about this, you should chastise her and pacify her. He said, the best method of pacification is to chastise, he said. Then he came back to palace and 2 more days passed. Again they went to the palace garden and the wife was asking, hey, that day you never told me what the bird spoke. Now you tell me, she said. Again the husband tried to tell her, please understand, I will die if I tell you this. Again she said the same point, I don't care whether you die or live, but I want to know what the bird spoke. At the time he said, you foolish lady, if I die, the neighborhood kingdom, the king will come and take over this kingdom, and you will be a single woman and you will suffer terribly and all the opulences will be gone. You can't be sitting comfortably in the garden like this. And the whole thing will be devastated, destroyed. And then she also considered all that and said, correct, that's true what you're saying. Okay, I don't need to know what the birds spoke, keep it with you, she said. So, this principle should be adopted by us while dealing with our own mind also. Bhaktivinoda Thakur doesn't say you chastise the mind. He says take shoes and beat the mind. What he says? It may be a little offensive, but that's what he says. Have you ever seen you taking a shoe and beating somebody on the head? Will you ever do that? If you ever can do that, we can do it only with our mind. And never hesitate to do that. Because mind can be rascal mind, foolish mind, non-devotee mind. So we may claim to be devotees, but mind sometimes has great demands. For example, Ravana had demand for another man's wife. Now Duryodhana had demand for another man's land. You can see that. And you can see Durvasa Muni, for no good reason, he became extremely wild on Ambarish Maharaj. He wanted to destroy him. He became angry to the point of destroying that fellow. A pure devotee of the Lord, you can see that. So this lust, anger, greed are the 3 great enemies. And when they make undue demands, one should take a shoe and beat the mind, he says. So, therefore we should not spark the demand in our mind and then increase it. Like one spark of fire, you put it in a big hay, big bunch of hay, then the whole hay gets ablaze, correct now? Similarly, material desires also increase, he says. So now she says that a good parent or teacher tries to keep a child physically healthy. And there is a way to expose a child to disease in order to prevent the disease, which is vaccination. The Vedic scriptures offer a similar method for material life in general. A vaccination introduces a disease in a form that isn't dangerous. Like you all know this, when we had this corona, correct no? So the vaccination also contains, correct no? The vaccination also contains the germ. But you may wonder, if you're putting germ in the body, will we not suffer? But it is acting in the interest of the body. It is not acting against the interest. But if you don't sanitize your hands, and then the corona which enters your nose, and then the throat, and then goes to the lungs, that is harmful. Whereas this vaccination, which also contains coronavirus, that acts in the interest of the body, and it acts against the virus, correct, no? Just like, for example, if somebody got a snake bite, they give another poison to counteract it, correct, no? Just like, you will see Bhima. Bhima was given poisoned cakes, poisoned laddus. When he ate that, he felt unconscious, and he went down the water, and Duryodhana thought he is dead. But you know what happened under the water? What happened? Snakes were biting him. When the snakes came and bit, the snake's poison cancelled the poison in his body. Then he got up. Then he was relieved of the poison. Similarly, vaccination is actually a form that is not dangerous. In the same manner, similarly, conditioned souls can safely deal with matter in a changed form. What is it? By using it in Krishna's service. That's a beautiful analogy, right? Like for example, we like food, nice food to eat. Okay, you offer it to Krishna and eat only what Krishna allows. What Krishna doesn't allow, don't eat. Like for example, if somebody makes a cake here, you can offer to Jagannath and take it. But you will not eat cake in a shop outside because they may have egg also in that, correct no? And also it's cooked by non-devotees. But it's cooked by devotees you take. That's the beauty of Krishna consciousness. We are not a self-denial movement. We are a movement where everything is sanctified. You remember 3 things I told you? Please repeat. Sanctioned, sanctified, regulated. 3 things are important. For example, vegetarian food is sanctioned. And prasadam is sanctified. And if you eat prasadam in moderate proportion, regulated. If one eats too much prasad, packs the belly with prasad, he has udaravegam. Correct, no? Or one goes for very tasty items and eats more and more of very fine, tasty, like we say, no, luchi, chini, puri, bali. That type of items one wants to eat, fine foods. Then that means he has a long tongue. So long tongue and urges of the belly, these are causes of diseases also. So therefore regulation is required. So sanctioned, sanctified, regulated. That's what the devotees do. So children can listen to music glorifying Krishna, eat food offered to Krishna, watch plays and movies about Krishna. Nowadays, there are more than 100 or 200 dramas from Chowpatty and other places, correct now? Similarly, Vaikuntha players, dramas also you can get from the internet, you can get. Similarly, there are also, puppet shows. Many puppet shows, Chitraketu, Bharat Maharaj, puppet shows are available. So there are so many nice things you can download and show to children. Abundant materials are available now. Now many Matajis, Prabhujis across the globe have started children activities. Many are available now. And then use the talents to serve Krishna and possibly later marry and raise a family in Krishna's service. This is a way to dovetail material inclinations with spiritual knowledge, to see both Maya and Krishna and ultimately choose Krishna. When Maya is used in Krishna's service under the direction of a guru, then Maya stops to work as a force of illusion. Rather, Maya acts spiritually to purify material desires. Very amazing thing, you see. See, Maya is whose Dasi? Krishna Dasi. So when you surrender to Krishna, then Maya becomes friendly with the devotee. Instead of troubling the devotee, she favors the devotee. Like Jadabharata was to be killed by those dacoits. What Durga Mata did? She beheaded all of them. And then along with her associates, a dozen other Kali's associates, they were all throwing the heads like balls and playing. And they were all showing a shrilling laughter. And they cut off the heads of all those dacoits and drank the blood from their neck, all the associates of Kali. Isn't it? So you will see that. And then Jadabharata was saved. That means demigods also want to see the devotee of the Lord protected. Similarly, Lord Shiva gave Pashupatastra to Arjuna. When Parikshit Maharaj was about to ascend to spiritual world, all demigods showered flowers, which shows that demigods are very happy with Krishna's devotees. When Krishna's devotee faithfully worship Krishna, then demigods also become very happy. So in this way, Maya Devi also becomes friend of the devotees. She doesn't trouble the devotees. She assists the devotees in Krishna's service when we engage everything in Krishna's service. Still, some adults insist that a child will learn best just through his or her own experiences, coming to Krishna consciousness naturally, just from experiencing material life without any outside help. They say that if you let the children enjoy material life, they will get thoroughly frustrated, they will throw it off and then they will come to Krishna. Let them go through, they say. In ancient times also, there were parents who argued that the children would gain spiritual determination simply through their own material lives. An example cited in Bhagavatam is of Daksha Prajapati, which I quoted that shloka now. Correct, no? Material enjoyment is indeed the cause of unhappiness, but one cannot give it up unless one has personally experienced how much suffering it is, like the Daksha said. Therefore, one should be allowed to remain in so-called material enjoyment, while at the same time advancing in knowledge to experience the misery of this false material happiness, like the Daksha said. Then without help from others, one will find material enjoyment detestable. And those whose minds are changed by others do not become as renounced, like that he said. Sometimes we people, we devotees, who have come to Krishna consciousness as adults, assume that our determination to renounce material life is a result of bad taste for illusory enjoyment. Yet, in discussing Daksha's statement, Srila Prabhupada tells us that Daksha's philosophy is wrong. That's the main point. He writes, the young boys and girls of Krishna consciousness movement have taken up the spirit of material enjoyment not because of practice of material life, but by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his servants. That means any amount of frustration you get by material enjoyment, it doesn't actually awaken sufficient knowledge for you to give it up. It's a repeating phenomenon it is, because it is Dushpurena Analena. It's like you keep on pouring petrol in fire. The fire is not going to, extinguish. It is just going to grow more and more. It's like that. Why is the experience of material enjoyment not enough to teach us? Prabhupada explains. Material nature is so strong that although a man suffers at every step, he will not cease in his attempts to enjoy. Actually, we may cultivate knowledge. For example, if somebody is hankering for something initially, that hankering itself is a painful thing in the heart. But after that hankering, if he gets that object, he is proud of getting that object. But he also has a fear of losing it. There are many people who may be trying to take that object away from him, so he is fearful of losing it also. And when he actually loses it, he laments for having lost it. Correct, no? So you will find multiple material problems are surrounding every object in this world. For example, if a woman is Krishna conscious, she is very peaceful, satisfied, contented, and she is able to go on with her life with whatever situation Krishna arranges. Otherwise, a woman who is not Krishna conscious, her demands are infinite. There is no end to the demands. She will never be satisfied with any amount of money brought by the husband. And in the same manner, the man also, the men are very eager for impressing other men. Like my Guru Maharaj was telling, he was sitting in Gita Nagari under the tree. Ekavir Prabhu was also sitting. Maharaj was showing, look at this beautiful glowworms in the tree. He was showing. So Ekavir Prabhu said, Maharaj, all these glowworms are glowing in the night because these glowworms have to exert a lot to glow like this. Like that they do, then the glow comes. Some of the glowworms, like that they do. Then they can glow for a little longer time. Some of them even exert themselves for a long time to continuously show the glow. So he said, Maharaj, they all have a competition with one another to show to their wives and family members how much light they can show. So they are into impressing game, he was telling. In the same manner, you will see when an eagle flies in the sky, a female eagle, if she wants to marry a male eagle, the male eagle cannot get the female eagle very easily. So the female eagle will catch one twig of a tree and carry it up. The male eagle also will go like this, and she will drop it somewhere. And this fellow has to catch it and come and show it, give it to her. Again, she will pick it up and go somewhere and drop it. 3 times she will drop it. All the 3 times this fellow, before it reaches ground, he has to go and catch it. And if he gives, then the female eagle says, okay, you are a real hero, now I'll marry you. So they say scientists have found out this. That means the man should be able to prove his capabilities to a woman. Then only, same thing with the elephant. The elephant can tear down a branch of a tree. And you look around, is there anyone to appreciate me? If there is a female who says, wow, you are so strong, then this fellow will put his trunk around the tree. Like that he would uproot the whole tree and throw it. Now what do you say about this? Then the female elephant will say, okay, now I'll marry you now. So you will see that man has to impress the opposite sex. And because of that, he slogs hard. And the woman becomes extremely greedy. This is material world. It's a fact actually. and it's an unending game. His Holiness Chandramani Swami Maharaj says, material world is a game where you will never win and you can never stop playing. It's like, imagine football. You keep on kicking football, hoping I'm going to put the goal. Goal doesn't, you don't see the goal only. Both sides, goal post is only not there. You keep on running. You wonder where to put the goal. So you never win. And so therefore, if one wants to transcend this platform, one has to become serious in Krishna consciousness. That's Prabhupada's point. Why is this experience of material enjoyment not enough to teach us? Even though we are fed up many times, Prabhupada says, material nature is so strong that although a man suffers at every step, he will not cease in his attempts to enjoy. Of course, man enjoys by impressing the opposite sex, and women enjoy by becoming greedy for more and more, and both parties are dissatisfied. That is the material world. So what is the solution to this? Women should cultivate satisfaction and contentment and know that there is something called destiny also, which brings forth what you can enjoy and how much you allotted quota can you enjoy. For example, every one of you sitting here, there are people who are uglier than you, there are people more handsome than you, correct? No? There are people poorer than you, there are people richer than you. There are people less educated than you, there are people more educated than you. And every one of you, you can see that you are rigidly put in a stringent condition in this material body. Did you decide the pigment of the color of your body? Did you decide? Did you decide your face cut? Did you choose the family in which you were born? These are all awarded by destiny. We just can't escape it. We are rigidly put in a situation. So one should not foolishly try to compare oneself with others. Why so-and-so is so rich and we can't be so rich like them. Like sometimes you find two sisters, one sister is getting, the elder sister and younger sister, if you see, the elder sister is getting first son, second son, third son, fourth son, four sons he got. And the second sister is getting first daughter, second daughter, third daughter. So sometimes they make comparisons and see why she got sons. Krishna can give two to her and two sons to me and two daughters here and two there. It may be your plan. But Krishna knows whom to give what according to our destiny. So what we should do, rather than curse the destiny or rather than make unhealthy comparisons with others, know that everybody is getting salary for their own work done in the previous month. Previous lifetime. Everybody is getting salary accordingly they are getting. Don't compare yourself with others. And therefore, we don't become greedy. Be contented. But make a plan to get out of this material world and go back to Godhead. Because once you go back to Godhead, these problems are all these problems are all finishable completely. They can vanish fully. Because the problem is due to material body and material mind, which is absent in the spiritual world. Because spiritual world, the spirit souls never get old, never get diseased, never die. So, therefore, material nature is so strong that although a man suffers at every step, he will not cease in his attempts to enjoy. Experience then won't enable a child to learn unless hearing spiritual knowledge comes along with it. That means if you are simply feeding children material goods, they are going to only become good for nothing. Unless you give them spiritual knowledge. Therefore, Arudha Mataji has written a beautiful book on Bhagavatam for children, you know that. Big, bulky book. Once you train the children, in Pune we have got more than 20 books, children books. You go to voicepublication.in. Voicepublication.in. 20 books are there, getting to know Krishna, on the way to Krishna, and also value-based stories. Many beautiful books. So one should purchase and keep these books and train the children very nicely. Give them this hearing and never hesitate as a parent to administer Krishna consciousness. Some people say, if we force them now, after they grow to teenage, they will be angry with us. So you don't have to force them now. Make Krishna consciousness a very pleasant experience. I have seen in families where husband and wife themselves get up in the morning and they are, taking a bath and coming in front of the Lord, offering obeisances, chanting, and then decorating the altar. Then children also join hands with them. Children don't see that, parents are forcing us. Some parents are too eager to see their children become like Prahalad or, they become like Dhruva and all, and they themselves don't want to come for classes. They put the child and go to the cinema somewhere. That is not acceptable. First, they should be exemplary because children learn by watching, not by hearing alone. They watch the parents. More things are caught than taught, it is said. Therefore, one longs for the happiness of serving Krishna, not merely because one has become disgusted with materialism, but because hearing from a great soul has sparked love of God in one's heart. So that by comparison, material life has no allure. So there are two things. One is by hearing from great souls that love for Krishna is sparked. And then that kindles a person's Krishna consciousness so intensely that the person has no time for material life. My special master was asked by one man, Swamiji, these two, three boys I met, they're all from IIT. What are the IITians doing here? IITians should be in some IT company, doing some work outside, job, or they may be going abroad. What are they doing? These fellows have become sadhus in your temple. My spiritual master very smartly answered. He smiled and said, they came to render some service, and the service was so much they never went back. He said, the service in the temple was so much, they took up so much seva that they had no time to go back. So, Ame gare na jaibo, vane praveshibo, o lila rase ratare. You heard that? Ame gare na jaibo, vane praveshibo, o lila rase ratare. Ame yamuna puline kadamba kanane, kehri no sakiyar. Ama Shama Vamsidhanin Manivancha Puri Lila Koile Rasana Tapon Krishna Lila Heri Prakriti Sundari Vistari Cheshobhavane Amigara Nagayevo Vale Pravechivo Lila Rasena. He's saying, very beautiful song. He's saying, I went to the forest of Vrindavan. There I saw Tara Ashtada Lopari. There were 8 petals. Lotus. Big lotus with 8 petals. And each of the petals, one gopi was standing. And one gopi is playing mridanga, one gopi is playing kartat, one gopi is making a garland, one gopi is making chandan, one gopi is preparing some betel nuts and other things. All gopis are preparing to serve the divine couple. Tara Ashtada Lopari Shri Radha Shri Hari Ashtasaki Parijan Tara Sugita Nartane Sabasaki Gane Tushiche Yugal Jane. He's saying, Yugal Dhane. He's saying that all these gopis are preparing to serve the divine couple for their pleasure. Tushiche Yugal Dhane. And then he's saying, Takon Krishna Leela Hiri, seeing this beautiful Leela of Radha and Krishna dancing, singing in the forest of Raj. Takon Krishna Leela Hiri, Prakriti Sundari, Vistari Chesho Bhavane. He's saying, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that Prakriti has increased her beauty, which means the gardens are all blooming with colorful flowers and fragrant flowers. The bumblebees, honeybees are humming there. The cuckoos are cooing, peacocks are dancing. The trees are all filled with ripened fruits. And the Yamuna is gushing with water. And all the animals and everybody is very happy. The sky has clouds which are drizzling. So the whole situation in the world is extremely beautiful. Nature's beauty is enhanced by when the nature saw that Krishna is performing Leela, the nature wanted to assist him like that. Takon Krishna Leela Heri Prakriti Sundari Vistarichi Shobhavane. Amigare na jaivo. Once I came to this Vrindavan forest, after seeing this beauty of Krishna's pastimes, Amigare na jaivo means I gave up my desire to return back to home, he's saying. Vane praveshivo o leela rase ratare. I have decided to enter this forest and never return back anywhere. And let this beautiful opportunity for serving the Lord become my life and soul for me. And then you know what he says? Hamitya ji kulalaj, braja braja raj, olila rase ratare. Bhaktivinoda he's saying, vinati, vinoda minati kare, he's saying. Vinoda minati kare means, our Bhaktivinoda Thakur pleads to the Lord that I don't care for my kula large. I am not ashamed to, if people criticize me that, hey, you are this, somebody may say, you are a Shaivite, you are Brahman, you are supposed to wear this, you are wearing tilak, you don't care. Because there are many kula dharmas are there. So you, kula dharma, all this jati dharma, samaj dharma, you go beyond all that. The ultimate dharma is paro dharma, love for Krishna. So after that love for Krishna is awakened in my heart, nothing appeals to my heart in this world. Everything appears like broken pieces of glass for me. Insignificant. So this is called higher taste. Param drishtva. So we have to awaken that higher taste if we really want to give up this material enjoyment. There is no alternative. So I will tell you a stepping stone to that, which is Sattva Guna. For example, if you increase the deity worship, if you increase the reading and contemplating on the Srimad Bhagavatam, if you go out on book distribution, and also take up services along with wife and children, then you will see that you become spirited and bustling with spiritual activities, which are all bliss producing by nature. And it produces bliss for everybody. And husband, wife, children, they will not even know how the days are passing, months are passing, years are passing. They will all go in a very blissful manner. So, on the other hand, people who do not engage in blissful spiritual activities, they are going to be sitting within four walls. Why did you look at me like that? I think you are angry with me. Yesterday night you said that. Tomorrow morning I will tell you this. And then people will be quarreling. Therefore, Prabhupada said, get out. Go out and distribute books. Go to the temple. Do spiritual activities. Because we easily become moody. In Kali Yuga means age of four bad things. First is hypocrisy. When a man or woman become hypocritical in the relationship, and the husband-wife gets suspicion about the spouse's behavior, and the whole family happiness is destroyed. So therefore, the hypocritical behavior. Secondly, when you point out the hypocrisy, when a senior is telling a junior, hey, you are behaving hypocritically, immediately they quarrel. Who said I am hypocritical? What is the proof? They will ask you. So they quarrel. And then after quarreling, you try to tell them, don't quarrel, I am telling for your benefit. They will not listen. They will rebel. They will go around talking ill of the senior. He thinks he knows better. I will tell you 2 dozen faults of that senior. Like that, they'll go around and rebelling, creating things. Then you call and tell him, hey, don't go around talking all these evil things. Don't bring negativity into the community, if you say. Then they'll become independent. They will go and start something on their own. These are the four bad qualities. What is the first one? Hypocrisy. Then quarrel. Then rebels. Then fourthly, this is Kali Yuga nature. But you have to curb all these four. Don't be hypocritical, be simple. That's the first thing. Don't quarrel, be cooperative and united. And humility is the key. And don't rebel, be polite and not be arrogant. And don't become independent, recognize and realize the dependence on Vaishnavas. Because without Vaishnavas' help, we cannot go back to Godhead. If you kick away all the Vaishnavas and you get out of the community and live alone and directly go to Goloka and tell Krishna, Krishna, I have come here, he will say, get lost. Go back. First, go learn to live in a community first. Have devotees. You can't just be like a loner in the Himalayas and then try to come to me. Otherwise, then if you want to be alone, then go to Brahmajyoti, relax there. If you want to go Goloka, you should learn to live in a community and come back to me. Srila Prabhupada ki. I can take one question, 5 minutes. Is it too late?
Yeah, we'll take one question and then we have official
certificates will give, yes. So the topic is confusing or it's clear? Who can say one conclusion clearly based on what you heard today? The whole summary can be made in 4 or 5 sentences. Anybody here who can do that? You understood? Yes. Please stand up. Give him the mic for everyone to hear. Ashok Prabhu.
Yes.
Yeah. You can come here. Yeah. Everybody can see. You're going to give that some depth.
So Prabhupada says that
Right.
Hare Krishna. To get the renunciation of this material world, no need to undergo mental enjoyment. After repeatedly undergoing mental enjoyment, one will not get this taste. we'll get that distaste for mental enjoyment only by practice of devotional service.
By getting inspired by a superior, like Prabhupada, for example, kindled that inspiration in hippies. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu kindled that inspiration in Jagai Malai, like that. So, the Guru Parampara, a Vaishnava kindles that inspiration, gives you services. Then, the Krishna consciousness gets awakened and one becomes absorbed in service. Then, how does one consider material enjoyment at that time? At that time, what does one consider about material enjoyment? What is one? Is one gritting the teeth and trying to give up material enjoyment, or distaste? One develops a distaste for material enjoyment. Horrible. One develops this. Param Drishtva. Thank you. Haribol. One more devotee can say one more statement about how do we raise our children. Who can say? Anybody having a child, they can say. You would like to say? Come here. What Urmila Mataji says about raising children. I can give the mic to him. Yeah, please come. Not married yet? Oh, no. We should have somebody not only married, having a child also. Any Prabhuji or Mataji? Yes, Prabhu. Yes, 2 daughters and 1 son. Right now, yeah. You can see that.
So we need not to make them, we need not to give practical material enjoyment. Here Urmila Mataji says that just lost.
What she says when you are raising the children.
This is a false. We have to give the Maya, the illusion, and from the books, from other books, both we have to give training. So to know the bad things of the ocean, we need not to get into the, we need to drown in the ocean. We can just get into the boat and see what is the, as Prabhupada gives the example. So the conclusion is, so practical enjoyment is horrible, just like Charivita, Punas Charivita Charivina. So that is the conclusion.
Also, it Dushpurana Analysis. If you plunge into mental enjoyment, it goes on increasing. There is no end.
Yeah, it covers the knowledge.
It covers the knowledge and it
is a tendency of more enjoyment and more.
Yeah.
It's like giving renunciation. So that's the one he said is wrong actually.
Yeah. Thank you. Haribol. Yes, sorry. Yeah. Mike. Yeah.
I don't know how much I am right. I heard that some of the temple to take a brahmachari, they are asking them to go to work for 2-3 years, then work masters and then.
Because when they work for 2-3 years, the company experience gives them a lot of nice exposure in being very responsible. We have seen that in company what happens, everything is systematic. They work in a department, they know how to report to boss, their dashboard, they have to keep the deadline and all that. So when they do that, because in college life, they are only just bookish students. When they go to company life 3-4 years, when they get that experience and then join, in temple also they can become very responsible. That's one of the main reasons. And also, we tell them that you are staying in the temple, morning, evening, you are attending programs. Daytime you go to job, which means whatever they hear in Bhagavatam, when they go to company, they can see it. That means you put yourself in the ship of Krishna consciousness. From there you can look at the ocean below, how people are drowning, suffering. Not that you jump into the ocean. Yes. Jumping into the ocean means what? Giving up the ship of Krishna consciousness and then trying to go into material life deeply to realize, is it bad or good? Then one gets drowned. You understand the difference?
Yes, sir. Actually, I was taking the other way. Because they are sending to them so that they are frustration and
No. The Prabhupada's point is a frustrated person doesn't become a good devotee necessarily. A frustrated person struggles for more enjoyment. He doesn't try to become Krishna conscious. So for becoming Krishna conscious, there has to be attraction for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prabhupada and Krishna. Some positive spiritual attraction is vital. Clear? Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu has one more question.
Yeah. That's good.
Hare Krishna. Start the class.
We also have.
Mic.
We also.
Mic should be on.
So there is one verse from Mission. Have the education Vidya and
So the lecture
we have given
we understood that ladies like what should not be exposed to the kids.
and low like there are some examples are there. When comes to
Main challenge for the parents is education system. Exposing to the
That's your battery is gone there.
hold it below. When it comes to
Take this other one.
when it comes to the parents, the big challenge is what kind of education we should provide. We have schools where it gives both education, where it gives complete class.
Say, for example, they go to the Karmi schools and there they get exposure to bad children, correct now? Who are in America also, if you see, many of the Indian children going to study there, they get exposed to the culture of the children, bad culture is learnt by them. So to avoid that, we can try to put our children in devotee schools. For Prabhuji starting Gurukula also in Yadadri. Or there's another school here also, no? Our Halada Prabhu. What is their name? Prajna Vikas. This kind of schools. Advantage is the children are going to get devotional culture. They will not learn bad things. At the same time, what is being taught is also what the other Karmi schools are teaching. Why? They can see Darwin's theory, they can see Bhagavatam theory. And we can tell them, see, Bhagavatam is so substantial and Darwin's thing is so hollow. And similarly, Big Bang theory versus, Krishna saying, Aham Sarvasya Prabhu. So we can show. So they are learning about the futility and the hollowness of material theories from the devotees while understanding the substantial nature of the spiritual theory. This is how the material theory should be taught. That means you are inside the ship watching the ocean. On the other hand, when you let the children go to Karmi schools, like Prabhupada studied in one school, the professor was saying, I don't believe in karma theory, he was speaking, professor. And Prabhupada was very angry, but he couldn't say anything. He was a small child in the school, he tolerated that. So if you send them to Karmi schools, like my sister's son and daughter, they were studying in one city in India. When they went to school, they came back and told that one of the teachers there, she is dressed in modern dress, dressed like that, and she's dancing on the stage, and the principal is clicking video. And she was saying, the children are coming and saying, this madam chastises us that we cannot wear nail polish, we cannot wear lipstick and all that. But she herself puts all these things. So one child asked the teacher, Madam, when can we dress like you? She said, only when you become teacher. So how can you send children to such schools? Correct, no? So therefore, but on the contrary, devotee schools contain devotee teachers. Devotee teachers are completely imbued with devotion. When they are speaking naturally, they will give understanding of the material things from Shastric point of view. You understand the difference? Yeah, thank you. See, there are 3 stages, 3 levels. One is, school like this, what Prabhuji is running, that's school. Little more intense is Gurukula, what Prabhuji is talking about. And more intense is only Gurukul education with no material education. That is also there, which some parents are a little afraid to put. Like what is happening in some ISKCON temples, I saw parents are poor, working as full-time devotees. They have their child living next to temple and coming to temple morning, evening, all the time child is there only. Some children don't have any education also. There are children like that. Some children, just undergo Gurukul education. Prabhupada also said that is also good. And when they grow up, they don't have any, they don't want to be a brahmachari. They have to do work. In ISKCON itself, they will be absorbed. Nowadays, a cook in ISKCON gets sometimes so much money. You see now? You have seen in those days, cooks are getting 5,000, 6,000. Now they're getting big amounts because cooks are in big demand, not only in India, abroad also. Everywhere, good cooks are wanted. So in this way, to survive in this world is not a very big thing, especially for a person who is willing to work hard. I am a lazy fellow who is a kamchor, he will suffer everywhere. But somebody is willing to work hard, he will survive anywhere. It's clear? So this is a group of devotees who finished Bhakshastri? Yes. How many of them?
Actually, total 37 people.
Oh, that is not finished.
And the rest.
Okay.
We are here at 24 people.
Okay.
And for a couple of them, the certificate, those mistakes were correct. So right now we are doing for 24 people. First is not the
So you all did in how much period of time? 2 years?
It's 1 year and few months.
Okay.
Started Janmashtami. That's why completed in this. Like what?
Radheshyam Krishna Prabhu. Very good. This